Hey scrapbook friends, it's Nicole from Nicole's Scrapbooks, and I'm here with another album flip through, and this is my very latest finished album. I just finished it within the last 30 minutes and wanted to do a video for you, especially because doing these videos has really motivated me to finish up several of the album projects that I have in process. I've developed kind of a bad habit over the last couple of years of finishing an album about 95% of the way and then just kind of setting it aside and moving on to the new project while I wait for, the pictures I meant to order or something, and then I never get back to it. So this has been really helpful for me to be doing these videos so that I can, be motivated to actually finish the books. So I don't have page protectors on yet. That for me is absolute finished, but I've done everything but, and I wanted to do the video before I put those page protectors on. So this is a trip that my daughter and I took to Florida in 2017. We went mostly to watch my sister's kids while she went away for the weekend, but my sister lives in Orlando, so we, of course, had to throw in a Disney trip. So my title page is a layout that I was inspired by on Pinterest. I used the old Creative Memories hexagon maker. We had one of those double punches. I should have kept it out, but so I was able to punch the bigger size in black, and then I punched this using, I think it's mostly Imagine That, which was a previous not specific to any brand of theme park collection Creative Memories had, but there might be a few pieces in here that are from Magic Awaits. I can't remember, but of course I didn't necessarily fill all the way in the back behind the picture with these little hexagons because I didn't need to. And then I triple mounted the picture and I matted the font for the title. Still a little bit hard to see, but I think it turned out really cute. It gives a fun Disney vibe to this album. Of course, I put the dates on here of our trip. So the first several pages are about the babysitting part of our trip. My sister knew that it's been a long time since I've been around little kids and gave us an awesome, super schedule telling us kind of what kind of things they like to eat, what their rules are. And I just thought that was fun and a good memory kind of what their life, these kids' life was like at this time. And I thought it would be something worth saving, mostly for them, but just kind of as a fun picture of what life was like for a 5-year-old and two 14-month-old twins. A few funny kind of quotes we heard between the kids and her dad, or the kids and their dad, well, mostly the 5-year-old who could talk. I used the Sorbet paper pack from Creative Memories. It's from a couple of years ago. This is the Rainbow Border Maker cartridge, one of my very favorites. It's sadly discontinued, but I just love the look of the Rainbow cartridge. And then these are the Sorbet embellishments, which were a little bit hard to use because they're kind of these funky flowers, but I think it all kind of came together nicely. So I just did several pages using Sorbet, the Rainbow cartridge, and the flowers from the Sorbet embellishments. I journaled right here on this kind of almost houndstoothy paper. You can see it okay in real life. I probably, if I had it to do over again, would do this on like a piece of solid, just so that you can see it better, but it's done. I'm not going to go back and do it. I have this same Sorbet paper. I really love this particular paper from Sorbet, but it's very busy. And so as you can see, a lot of it I covered up to kind of keep it from overpowering the page. When I have a lot of paper showing, it's kind of the more neutral, but I still was able to get this fun kind of funky pattern paper in there in the layout, and I used it all the way through. So this is also from Sorbet. It's not quite as funky, but the stickers were a little bit on the funky side. I'm not quite sure what this little geometric shape is supposed to be. All the background is cloud, cardstock from Creative Memories. And I didn't try to do chronological because over the course of the 4 or 5 days we were there, we just took a whole bunch of pictures and I just kind of mixed them all in together. So another page just of the kids, kind of the fun things. I mean, my sister's twins were 14 months old. Her daughter was 5, and they're just at kind of peak cuteness. So, even though we didn't necessarily do anything, just hang out at their house, we still had a lot of fun pictures. I love this picture. This is me. You can't really tell, but I'm just drenched. Half of my shirt right here is soaking wet. This was bath night. That was a adventure for me. I was able to use a little bit more of this funky paper here, just because I really like it, and I didn't want to cover up all of it. But just more pictures with sorbet. Simple. I didn't really mat anything. There wasn't a whole lot of journaling to do about the time we were there, but I still journaled as much as I could. And so those were the babysitting. I thought I had a picture of me with my sister, but I think maybe that was at the beginning, or maybe that was another trip. Anyway, I don't know. Sorry, sister, you didn't get in this scrapbook. And then we moved on to Disney, and I don't actually love this page. We stayed at the Caribbean beach, and so I wanted to use this palm paper, but it's a little bit blah for me for a Disney page, but you know what, it's done. And it gave me a chance just to kind of write about the hotel and our time to go play at Disney. So day one, we start at Hollywood Studios. I would probably bet that this is a Scrapbook Generation sketch that I used. I'm a huge fan of sketches, and specifically the Scrapbook Generation sketches. This was, I think, Citrus Summer paper, and then this new Open Star Punch was just a brand new thing from CM. They did a fun mystery box event, and this was the star that came in. I thought it worked perfectly for Hollywood Studios. So this sketch is based on a blog post by Megan Jacks. I've mentioned her before, and I have it right here. But this was Megan's blog post. Sorry, I should have had it ready for you. But this was Megan's blog post where she used the Camera Love punch and this old Starburst punch from CM and made this border with the picture of this paper. And so I absolutely completely scrap lifted that from her to do this layout from the Great Movie Ride. I made the film strip using the roller coaster border punch. I just cut off the roller coastery part and left this little square, and then I put these, I think they're 1 3/4 by 1 1/4 or something like that. But it's on Megan's blog. So cute. And at the same time that this came out, we got these fun new 6 by 12 peekaboo pockets. And so I did it like a barn door peekaboo layout, which is very fun. It was a little bit of work because I had to, figure out my border and the angles and cut it and all that stuff. But I think it turned out so very, very fun. One thing I've learned with these peekaboo pockets is I like to adhere the plastic of the peekaboo pocket to the actual page, the CM page underneath, and then I put my background paper over the top of it to hide all that adhesive. Of course, if you don't use CM albums or you use the top loading pocket pages, you can just stick this on top of the pocket. And then to get the page protector on, I'm just gonna have to take the paper out of here and kind of, fold this up a little bit so that I can slide the page protector over to fit it back on the page. So those are the peekaboo pockets, and I've just taken it all apart, but so fun. Love these peekaboo pockets. All right, we went and did Toy Story Mania. This is some non-CM paper that I bought at a scrapbook store, and it's, specifically, I don't know if it's licensed for Toy Story, but it fits just perfectly. And then I had this single page, and so I stuck in here kind of a random page. I really struggle with single pages and kind of doing things out of order. But we didn't take a whole lot of pictures actually on this trip because we've been to Disney several times. So this is a page back at our hotel about this little bag of treats that we found waiting for us when we came home that night. And this was I don't remember the name of this punch. This was an incentive punch from Border Punch from Creative Memories. And I punched it out, and then I punched it again and put the little pink flowers in. And then I also did flowers and some little green leaves right here. I think this is sun-kissed paper. So here's Boma. That is our very, very favorite restaurant. Well, it's my very favorite restaurant in the whole wide world, but our favorite restaurant at Disney. I did the mitered corners that I've showed in another video, and then just have this kind of red background to kind of frame my pictures, and of course some journaling boxes. So you can't really see a whole lot of that red, but this old paper was from, I think it was called Textiles. It was way old CM, back when the paper packs were only 10 by 12, but I have a bunch of it and I really like it for kind of Animal Kingdom at Disney, the Africa pictures and stuff. So I use a lot of this Textiles paper, you know, while I've got it. Oh, I forgot to journal on this page. So this is the next day. Or no, it's the same night. Sorry, it's the same night. I got to look at our clothes. After we went to Boma, we went back to the Magic Kingdom. I don't know how I missed journaling this. Good thing my page protectors aren't on. Went back to Magic Kingdom, rode the Winnie the Pooh ride. This paper is from a paper pack called Be Mine. Creative Memories released it a couple years ago for Valentine's Day, and they must have had a ton of it because it is still available. As of today, it's still available on clearance for only $5 for the pack of 12. And it's got these cute little beehives and bees and the honeycombs and then some other kind of fun papers. But if you have a lot of Winnie the Pooh layouts to do, this beehive and honeycomb paper and then the little bees and the sticker that go with it are perfect for Winnie the Pooh. And I'm going to journal before I put the page protectors on. So here we got the Buzz Lightyear ride, and apparently I journaled up here, and I said that after dinner we parked topped over the Magic Kingdom. That needs to be on the other page. So what's great here is that I'll just take a journal box and put it over the top and correct that little mistake. But this is also some non-CM paper. And again, this is stuff I did before I knew I was doing videos, so I don't necessarily know the names of all these fonts. This layout is with the Magic Awaits paper from CM, and this particular kind of layout design was a sketch from one of the Creative Memories virtual crops. Actually, I think some of the earlier pages when I was babysitting were from the virtual crops too. This was a really hard one to do, just to kind of get it so it worked out well. But I thought it was fun for, you know, fireworks pictures, which are sometimes hard to scrapbook because they're nowhere near as dramatic as watching real fireworks in the park. Here again, I've got two single page layouts because I just didn't have very many pictures. I probably could have stretched Small World across 2 pages, but mostly I wanted to put this Mad Tea Party picture in because the PhotoPass photographer took it and the teacups are spinning in the background and we are, you know, in sharp focus, and I just think it's a really neat picture. So Small World, I used some sugar plum paper, which is a favorite of mine. It was kind of theoretically a Christmas pack, but I've used it for so many other things, and I thought the colors worked great for Small World, especially that last room of Small World that's kind of in all the whites and blues. And then this paper is from Daydreamer, which is one of our current paper packs, and I just kind of love this ombre with the pink going to green. So usually at Disney, we try to stop and take a picture, PhotoPass picture in front of the castle or whatever, in front of the Epcot ball as we come in. For whatever reason, on this time, we didn't. We kind of did things out of order. This Epcot page, the layout is actually the project recipe from National Scrapbook Day, but I used the picture of this paper. So it's the same recipe with the different papers, and I think it just turned out great. I really, really like it. And I love the picture of this paper. I'm sad that I don't know if it's completely gone, but it's definitely on the going gone list. So versatile for random photos. Okay, so this is one of my favorite layouts ever. And this is absolutely, utterly, and completely scrap lifted from a layout on the Creative Memories blog that was created by Melissa Ullman. She used to be a designer for CM, and now she's kind of a freelance designer for them, but also does really great stuff. And the minute I saw this layout on the blog, I knew that I wanted to recreate it. And so this page these pictures that we went to this Colortopia attraction at Epcot, I thought were perfect to use all the different colors. And you can see I really very closely copied her layout from the half of basket weave border. Down here at the bottom is the dips and diamonds. I didn't do that kind of cluster of embellishments or anything on this section. And I did my journaling a little bit different on that side. I didn't have the same embellishments, but this is absolutely scrap lifted and one of my very favorites. And the next page is also scrap lifted, also from Melissa. But I used the same kind of color scheme, but I copied this idea that she had done, which might have been in the catalog, but it must have been on the blog because I was able to print it out. But I just kind of copied that same idea using the hexagon pattern from the custom cutting system. And of course, my pictures were bigger, so I didn't quite get the same effect with being able to put all my pictures inside the hexagons, but I still think it looks really awesome. And so it's kind of a combination of these two layout designs from the Creative Memories blog. If you haven't checked out the blog, super easy to find, blog.creativememories.com, or from any Creative Memories advisor's website. Across the top menu, the last choice is blog. So you can see how I use the same kind of colors and stuff from this one with the basket weave and the dips and diamonds, but then I use this kind of layout as my inspiration with the hexagons kind of going across. And I love these layouts so much. All right. Universe of Energy. They had just announced that the Universe of Energy was closing. It's not one that we usually ride on because it takes like 45 minutes, or it took, I guess, but it was starting to rain and we thought, oh, well, perfect. We'll go ride Universe of Energy. So I did take kind of some pictures in here just kind of to document. And then I just made a simple border with some triangles that were created by cutting squares in half. So that's a simple, easy way to make a little triangle border. And I think it's simple and effective and fun. And of course I used some of that shimmery prismatic paper that I think is by Colorbach for my title. So as I was working on this album and working on Test Track, Creative Memories came out with the On the Road Border Maker cartridge. And I think this might have also been another virtual crop sketch, but I love it. It was kind of a pain to layer the little cars from on the road, but it just turned out really cute and I'm very pleased with it. And the little cars have the base layer, which is what you punch out of the border. And then I have a black layer that I cut out so that the wheels show. And then I put platinum shimmer in for the windows and the hubcaps. And then I punch them again to do the other little cars. So if you don't mind fussy cutting, you don't mind taking a little bit of time, the little cars are kind of fun to play with. And then this is from the Automobiles paper pack, kind of this roadway stuff. And actually this one is too, it's got little arrows on it. So I had a few kind of random pictures from Epcot. We did go back and get our picture taken in front of the Spaceship Earth. And this paper was an 8x8 paper pack from Old CM called Color Me Happy. And I believe the layout is from, again, Scrapbook Generation. They have a whole book about using 6x6 papers on a 12x12 layout. And I think just maybe one handout. I think it might even be a free handout about using 8x8 papers. And so I was able to use these 8x8 papers on my 12x12 layout. I love the colors, and I'm glad that I finally got to use those, even though I rarely do 8x8s. This is more of the picture this paper. This is a really busy paper, and I was a little bit worried to use it, but I think because my pictures are dark and I have a lot of them, that it's okay that I use this. Plus it's Disney, and I feel like I can use busier papers at Disney. Definitely needed to double matte my title so that it wouldn't get lost. Anytime I have a really busy background, I find that making a shadow layer for my title makes a huge difference. And you guys know I use a Silhouette with software called Make the Cut. And one of the things I love about Make the Cut is that it's so easy to do a shadow on anything. You can adjust the size, any font, any clip art, any shape. You can do multiple shadow layers if you want. And I just think it adds so much, and I love that feature. So this is Club Cool, which is also, I think, sadly gone now. We didn't know that then. I think this was also a virtual crop challenge. A lot of these pictures I was working on kind of when we were starting the virtual crops earlier this year. I made the little circles, the little open circles. If you remember a few months ago, weeks ago, I don't know, 2020, I can't keep track. I did a video about how to make the open circles using the custom cutting system. And it was probably when I was working on this layout that inspired me. And then the title is a photo I had taken of the entrance to the little shop, and I just enlarged it so that I could cut it out and have it be kind of my title down here at the bottom. So in the World Showcase side of Epcot, we always like to ride the Frozen ride, mostly because we love the snow geese, which are these little mini little snowman guys, not Olaf, smaller than Olaf, and it's got the snow geese in it. So we always love to ride and see some snow geese on this ride. And I love that there's a ride photo on it. And apparently I was worried about losing my glasses or something, but so that's a fun one. This is the Crystal Chain border. I live in Alabama. I don't get a lot of chances to do snow photos. And so I love to do Frozen because I can use all the snow paper. I think this is Winterberry. It might have been the one from the year before. I can't remember the name of it, but I think this is Winterberry, which has also just gone to Last Chance, but I think it's still around. So then I just had random pictures of us in different spots around Epcot. This paper is from the Travelog pack, and it's a little tricky to use because it has the Eiffel Tower, Big Ben, the Sphinx, the Sydney Opera House, the London Eye, and those aren't necessarily things that go together. I mean, if you went to Paris, you don't necessarily want to put the Sphinx on your page, but it works perfect for Epcot's World Showcase because, you know, although we don't have the Taj Mahal or the Sphinx, that just kind of that feeling of all the countries together, I thought it worked great, and I was glad to be able to use it. You see, just a simple layout. I like to do the stacked here in the middle. I've talked about that before, and kind of make almost like a circular kind of oval shape in my layouts, and just very simple, but shows off my pictures, and we had a lot of fun. All right, so this is probably one of the last pages I did in this album. I had done a different layout and then I didn't like it. And so I don't usually let myself redo old pages, but if the album is not done, I don't consider it done. So I completely redid it, and I used this idea that came from, I don't know exactly where it was posted. And I know the idea was by Noreen Smith. I don't know if the layout was posted on her Organized and Creative Mom page, or if it was in the CM blog, or if it was in the Creative Life Scrapbooking Facebook page. I think it might have been Creative Life Scrapbooking, but it's using that arch frame border punch that I just did a video about. I love how this turned out. That was so fancy. If anything, I don't necessarily love the font that I chose for the title, but I struggled to find a font that I liked, and you know what? It's done, and the pictures will take away from the not perfect title. All right, we love to eat at the Biergarten restaurant. We've lived in Germany, and so that's kind of like going home for us. This is using the hexagon pattern from the custom cutting system. I'm sure that this is an idea I got from somewhere else, whether it's a blog post or something on one of the sketchbooks. I don't remember. If somebody remembers, please tell me in the comments. But you just take the large hexagon pattern from the custom cutting system and cut this, and then you weave the paper through, and I think it turned out really cool. And then this I also think was a blog post from CM, and it's using Gallivant. Gallivant was one of my very favorite Creative Memories travel collections we've ever had, and when it was going away, I bought several packs of it because I love it so much, and I actually was able to use the embellishments from it. I even used some of these little pearl things, which I don't do a lot of little bumpy embellishments, but I had to use them because it just turned out so cute. And then I put my journaling at an angle. All right, so one of the main reasons we went to Disney this time well, we went to babysit, but one of the main things my daughter wanted to do was to go on the Keys to the Kingdom tour. This is a photo of the little pin that they gave us when we went on the tour, and I just blew that up, cut it out to be my title. Turned out that the girl who gave us our tour, our little tour guide, was friends with my daughter when they both were doing the Disney College program. And so that's kind of what I journaled about. They don't let you take pictures on the tour. And I don't know if I would have remembered to journal about that if we hadn't, run into Megan. So that was really fun. This is the old hexagon border maker. This paper was from Cap and Gown, and it has a hexagon design in it. And so I think that's how I decided to do the little hexagons. But it's basically, this one's about telling the story about running into Megan. And then here's I took the picture in front of the castle, Magic Kingdom, kind of starter Magic Kingdom pages. But all I did was say, hello, castle. And this was a incentive paper pack, a mix and match rainbow that I really love and wish we could get more of. So this was also from a virtual crop or a blog or something, and I kind of was copying the circle idea. I don't necessarily love it. It's super busy, and the pictures themselves are already really busy, and so I think that the floats from the parade kind of get a little bit lost. So I don't know that I would do this one again with these kind of pictures. I think it would be more effective if I had simple pictures with a clear background, but I really did love the circles. I love kind of the motion and the flow. Probably need like one more right here to finish that out. But then I wanted to leave space for journaling, and I had my little square picture of me, found a seat, a real chair in the shade to watch the afternoon parade, which was wonderful. So here again, I'm ending Magic Kingdom here with just some snacks that we did, and then we're going to Epcot. And, I know you don't have to do a Disney trip chronologically, but I really struggle. And we didn't take a Spaceship Earth picture or anything, so there's no division. But it still is fun to have the two, to have layouts of these things, even though I don't have anything to go in between. I wasn't going to leave a blank piece of paper just to make a division because of my own thought process. So I love this page about the living seas. Probably, again, a sketch from a virtual crop. But what I love about this is this title that I cut out on my silhouette. It took forever to find the design online and to harvest it and to make all the layers. If you have an opportunity to buy pre-made titles, it's so much faster than trying to do it yourself. I probably took 5 hours to make that title, but isn't it cute? And this is more of the picture, this paper, which I think was great for the seas with Nemo and his friends. So here's just a few more random pictures from that day at Epcot. And this, I think, is from that same Scrapbook Generation sketch that talks about using 8x8 papers. So these are just 2x8 inch strips of paper. Now, these were 12x12 papers. I just didn't have very many of them left. Cool Serenity is like from 2017, I don't know, 2018 maybe. But it's been around, it's been around for a while. It's been retired for a while. And so I was able to just use these little strips. And of course you wouldn't have to, because my pictures cover this. You could just use some little 2x2 squares and put your pictures over the top. But on this side, I needed the full strips. And I think it turned out, I even used a mat from the mat pack, which I don't always remember to use. This layout, I had one piece of this fun kind of Animal Kingdom-y paper. Actually, I think this might be the back of it. And so I think this might be from that 6x6 sketch. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I didn't make this one up either. But I fussy cut a bunch of the little guys from the paper and mounted them on these little pictures. And then it needed something else, so I did the little kind of hand-drawn stitching, which is kind of an old school scrapbooking thing. And, was able to use these little decorative things because I only had the 3 pictures, but I had a whole division page for my new Animal Kingdom pictures. And I think it turned out really cute. I like it. Then we rode the Kilimanjaro Safaris ride, and this paper was from the CM What a Zoo theme pack. And it was fun to be able to do kind of zoo-ish pictures right when that theme pack came out. And again, probably a sketch from Virtual Crop. So if you are interested in the virtual crops, you might want to join the Creative Memories virtual crop group on Facebook, but definitely go to the CM blog because all those sketches are there. All right, we're getting to the end of this album, and the next several pages are going to be from Pandora. This trip was in July of 2017, and Pandora had just opened in May. And so this was our first opportunity to see that Pandora land in Epcot, or in Animal Kingdom, sorry. And I had this old paper pack called Strut Your Stuff and this embossed cardstock called Peacock that went together. And so I used it kind of through this whole thing. I fussy cut this out to give me kind of this scallopy border, and so that it would stretch the two pieces of this paper that I had. I might have had more than two because I think I used full pieces later, but I love this paper and I love being able to stretch it over several layouts. And again, I pulled the logo off of Google Images and I created the layered die cut in Make the Cut. It was a giant pain, but boy, it turned out cute. But it explains why it takes me so long to finish some of these albums, because I go on these wild hairs. So here's the Navi River Journey, which is one of the rides in there, the more of that Strut Your Stuff paper. And on this one, on the Textures cardstock, it has a white core, and I actually took a little emery board and sanded off the edge just to give a little bit of contrast. All right, this is the Satu'li Canteen. It's the restaurant there in Pandora. Same paper pack. This is that same textured paper, and I just put the stripe along the middle to kind of offset these pictures. I think it makes it easier to see them because they're on a solid background as opposed to the stripe, but I really do like the stripe. The Rivers of Light is the nighttime show at Animal Kingdom. Pre-COVID it was. And this is probably a Scrapbook Generation sketch. And I loved having this little banner to do my journaling. Again, pulled the logo off of the internet, used some paper flowers. This little scallop border is that Dips and Diamonds border maker cartridge. You just hide most of it under the your top paper, and I can't get it off now, but it makes a really cute little scalloped edge, and just makes it kind of light and fun. And then probably the highlight of our trip, maybe not the highlight, but definitely the most memorable, was this night that we went back to Pandora so my daughter could buy one of these little Banshee things, and it started pouring rain, and we finally had to just make a run for it in the rain, and we got completely soaked to the skin. But it's one of our most fun Disney memories we've ever had. And so I still use that same Strut Your Stuff paper and the same font that I used on previous Pandora pages, but I had a little bit more space for journaling and kind of talking about the fun things that we did in that fun memory of getting absolutely completely soaked to the skin. So our last day, we always like to go to breakfast somewhere, and we went to the Grand Floridian and had breakfast at 1900 Park Fair, and Michelle had brought her little Banshee. It sits on your shoulder, and there's a little controller, and so it can turn its head and move around and stuff. And Piglet was awesome. Was so scared of the Banshee and kind of cowering in fear, and so then Michelle had to really get into it and talk to Piglet about how the Banshee worked, tell him it was just a toy, and help him not to be scared. And it was just a fun character interaction. And I'm so glad that the PhotoPass photographer got all these pictures for us. The layout itself, this was with the Mix and Match papers. We had Mix and Match Pink, Mix and Match Blue. This is from the Mix and Match Rainbow. It's a little busy, a little over the top, but if you can't be busy and over the top on a Disney layout, I don't know when you can. So I had fun with that. And then our actual breakfast at 1900 Park Fair. Not a whole lot to say about the fact, hey, we had breakfast, we saw these characters, but I did try to do a little bit of journaling. And then the final page, I struggle a lot with what to do on the last page of an album. If I don't remember to take a picture, that can go by itself. Sometimes when we've eaten like at 1900 Park Fair, it used to be Mary Poppins that would meet you out front. So I would do all the other characters here, and then I would do on the last page Mary Poppins. But we had that whole interaction with Piglet, so we needed his own layout. But I did take a screenshot of one of my apps that tracked our path from Orlando home to Huntsville. And this is actually the first half of the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles project recipe. So I have the other half somewhere that I hope I can use for something else, but it worked perfectly for just this one picture that I probably would not have put in my scrapbook ordinarily, but I needed something for this last page. And I thought it was fun to talk about how we drive to Disney, and that, you know, that's part of our story, our family story, about all the times we go to Disney. So there you go. There's my 2017 July Disney trip. This was an incentive album, a gift with purchase a couple summers ago. I didn't use a film camera for any of these pictures, but I still liked the camera. Thought it was fun. So I hope you enjoyed looking through my album with me. I would love it if you would like this video or subscribe to my channel, and I will be back soon with more technique ideas, new product previews, and album flip-throughs. Thanks so much, and happy scrapbooking.